Crap, I think the Cowboys are going to do well this year. Well, they'll just choke in the playoffs. Grossi Posse Packer Nation. Welcome to an episode of Packcast, the podcast where you don't have to be a Packers fan, but it sure does help. I'm your host, Tom. Aaron Rodgers is the Cowboys' daddy, Grossi, and today we are going to be taking a look at the NFC East and making some predictions as to where all the chips are going to fall. Now I'm hungry for chips. Before we get to that, I want to do a big shout out and thank you to a brand new patron and YouTube member, Sydney Price. A very big thank you for your support. You get to be in 2 credits now. You fancy. Now, we've already done the NFC North and we've done the NFC South, and so today we'll do the East, Monday we'll do the West, and then we'll go over into the AFC. So if you're brand new, hi, but the way that we're going to be doing this is I'm going to break down every single team, what they did during the offseason, then take a look at what their hardest games are going to be and try to predict a schedule out of that, and then at the very end, rank them. So let's start off with the Washington Redskins. Yes, the Redskins. They got Chase Young. They got their man. And so you might think, oh man, the Redskins, they're going to be up-and-comers now. Now, besides that, their draft really wasn't too impressive. Obviously, I know we can't grade it right this second, but it just seemed like it was very meh. But taking a look at why I don't think the Redskins are going to drastically improve, they were the 27th worst defense when it came to points allowed, and they were 32nd in points scored on offense. That ain't getting fixed by Chase Young. While I expect their defense to improve this year, I still think that they have a long way to go in their... What do you call it when they're always in rebuild? Normal? On top of that, Haskins does need to get better with the limited experience that he has, but he also does not have a ton of weapons. Obviously, Adrian Peterson is coming back. Geis is hopefully going to be healthy, but their wide receivers, you know, if it's not gun charges, they leave a lot to be desired. On top of that, they also do not have the easiest schedule. So here's where I see them having the biggest problems. They have the Ravens, which is just, don't even watch that game. I think they'll lose both times to the Eagles. I think they'll get swept by the Cowboys. I think they'll lose to the Cardinals, the Rams, the Giants twice, potentially. They might steal one from them. The 49ers and the Seahawks. So right there, that's 12 games. That's tough. If you want to try to find some silver linings here, maybe they split with the Giants and maybe they split with the Cowboys or Eagles and maybe steal one from the Cardinals. But I think it's going to take a miracle for them not to have a losing season. I have pitted the Redskins at the very bottom of the East, and I would not be surprised if they're going to be picking in the top 5 again next year. Sorry. Then we got the New York Jersey Football Giants. They actually had a pretty good draft, right? They went out and they got Andrew Thomas, which was a smart pick. Then they got Xavier McKinney in the 2nd round, and you're like, okay, maybe they'll do something. And then they got Blake Martinez in free agency, and they paid him $30 million. He's your problem now. But similar to the Redskins, they were also terrible on defense. They were 30th in points allowed. They were only 19th in points scored on offense, which is obviously better than being ranked dead last like the Redskins, but that defense still has a little ways to go. Blake Martinez is a fine middle linebacker. He's a tackling machine. It just happens that the majority of those tackles are, like 5 yards after the line of scrimmage. And that's not a knock against him. It's more of just like, I don't think you can rely on Blake Martinez to completely revamp your defense. Obviously, McKinney's going to help with the secondary, but, they've lost a lot of talent over the years. And on the offensive side of the ball, Saquon Barkley obviously dipped last year. And plus, he also got injured. The offensive line has been struggling for years now, and they've tried to address it with Nate Solder, but, that didn't really work out so well. So Daniel Jones is going to have to, again, take another step. Saquon Barkley is going to have to bounce back. They have Slayton, Shepard, and Tate, and obviously Ingram, who they're going to be relying on heavily, but I don't even think that any of those guys are elite receivers. But I think they're going to be more competitive than the Redskins because they do have a better offense, and they do have some key players like Barkley, like Jones, that I think will allow them to win a few games. Here's some of the tough games that are on their schedule. They have to deal with the Steelers. The Bears could go either way, but the 49ers, the Cowboys twice, the Eagles, maybe they'll split with them, the Buccaneers, the Seahawks. Then you have the Cardinals, Browns, and then Ravens. So right off of that, that'd be a 6-10 record if they lost all of that and they split with the Eagles. I can see them stealing one maybe from the Browns, maybe even the Cardinals. And so you look at like a round in 8-8 record. But for me, I think it's pretty safe to assume that the Giants are going to have either a slightly losing record or maybe like a 9-7 record. They also don't have the benefit of having a great schedule. And on top of that, that defense, man, if they go against some high-powered offenses, they're in trouble. Then you got the Philadelphia Eagles who, yeah, well, at least they took some pressure off the Packers for, the draft that they had. Or at least that's what I tell myself. They obviously went and got Jalen Reagor in the first round and then, of course, shocked the world because they were like, one Jalen's not enough. Let's get Hurts as well. So the question becomes, okay, obviously Wentz is their guy. They just gave him a big extension, but they also are bringing in Hurts. Is he going to be used as a Taysom Hill kind of rotational guy? Is he just a backup to be like, okay, let's hope that Carson Wentz doesn't get hurt again? Because the story of last season for the Eagles was just injury. So I think they're already going to be a better team because half of their team isn't going to be decimated by injury, you would hope. So I think they will be competitive against some of the teams that the NFC East has to play this year, but the toughest games I think they're going to face are definitely the 49ers. They're going to probably split with the Cowboys like they usually do. The Steelers could be a tough matchup for them. The Ravens, the Seahawks, the Packers, and the Saints. If they lost all of those games, that would be 7 games that they lost. I could see them pulling out one against the Packers. I could see them pulling out one against the Steelers. And who knows, maybe they'll sweep the Cowboys. I don't think they will, but they could. So they could have a pretty damn good year, and they could be around an 11-5 team. But I think around 10-6 is where I would place the Eagles as of right this second. I think they'll definitely finish second in the East unless something catastrophic happens to them. But I do rank them behind the Dallas Cowboys. Then finally, the team that had the draft I wish that I'd had. The Dallas Cowboys. Yeah, CeeDee Lamb just fell right into Jerry Jones' old wrinkly hands. Why? The Cowboys already had a damn good offense last year. They were top 10 in every single category, rushing, passing, and points scored. They were really good. And then on top of that, they now no longer have the clapper. I think Mike McCarthy coming in is going to be a huge boost to that team. It would not surprise me if the Cowboys even finish as high as like the 2 seed. I know, this is blasphemy and it tastes bad coming out of my mouth. But the Cowboys are primed to make a run. I know we've been saying this for years, but everything on offense seems to finally be lining up. They got their coach. Defense, there's a little bit left to be desired, but I think overall this will be a very, very competitive team and they will be there, at least for the first week of the playoffs. Some of the tough games that they have to play are the Seahawks, the Eagles, the Steelers, the Vikings, the Ravens, the 49ers. So if they lose all those, they are still 10-6. I can see them pulling it out against the Steelers, and I can see it pulling out against the Vikings, and even if they decide to sweep the Eagles. So they're another team that I could think could go as good as 12-4, because some of the toughest games they're going to have to play are the Ravens, Niners, Seahawks, and then probably split with the Eagles. Or they can go somewhere around, I would assume, 10-6. So for me, I think their ceiling is definitely something like 12-4. And honestly, at this point, I think the East is theirs to lose because they have the Redskins and Giants to beat up on, and the Eagles are really going to be their only competition within that division. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. Who do you think is stealing the East? Is it going to be a dumpster fire like it has been for the past couple years? Let me know what you think down in the comments below. You can always find me at TomGrossiComedy.com or at TomGrossiComedy on all social media. See down below. Check out podcasts on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play Music, Spotify, and of course YouTube. And a big shout and thank you to all the patrons and YouTube members. It is much appreciated. But thank you so much for watching. We'll be streaming tonight at 7 p.m. I'm Tom Grossi. And as always, go Pack Up.